Hi everyone, good morning. I hope you're able to hear me.
Yeah. Hi, Tim. Good morning and good morning, Bhaskar.
Very good morning. Dasrath, do you want to share your screen about the access?
Yeah, sure. Very good morning, sir. Good
Yeah, very
morning.
good morning.
Yeah, one moment. I didn't have it.
Uh, Bhaskar, just one question. As you
Yeah.
yesterday mentioned, Blob and ADLS Gen2 is going to store the same files like Blob file, tables, files, shares, or like only ADLS is going to store these files?
No, you can also share even tables. Those tables like what we can say semi-structured data we are going to have in the table.
Okay, like in both the storage, right?
Yeah, in both the storages.
But in the real time, but we are mainly focusing on the ADLS Gen2,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
Okay, okay, yeah.
Yeah, shall I share my screen?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, please let me know.
Yeah, I'm able
So,
to see.
these are the three emails came.
Can you say, can you see your classroom first?
Last invitation. This one?
Yeah, that one. Open it.
Yeah.
You can
Done?
join the class. So you will get everyone is going to get the class invitation, classroom invitation. So once you get that, you have to log in into that. Now you can
Yeah.
see there is a links DP900 and ADF.
Yeah.
So
So,
can you open that?
yeah.
Now you can see.
Okay. Bhaskar, I did not receive this link. Srinivas.kodor@gmail.com.
Okay, so can you ping me in my WhatsApp? I'll recheck it.
Okay. Okay, Bhaskar.
Okay, so this is about classroom, Dasrath, and can you go for a recording access? Can you check that email?
This one I was not able to see or download.
No,
Actually.
download is not going to be available.
Yeah, see, how can we see? Yeah,
Can you double click on it?
double click. Okay. Okay. Yeah, thanks. So I was trying to
Yeah,
see.
these are all the dumps. If you want to go for certification, then you can go for this. But
Yeah.
can you close this?
This somewhere.
On the left side, there is a top.
Can I drag this one?
No, no, no. In the left side, there is a close mark. Little down, little down. Next to this, yeah, that is one. The last one, Microsoft, the last file, can you open it? So this is the PDF is one of the file that I have prepared for DP900. If you want, you
Oh,
can go through that.
yes, sure.
Okay, so the brief idea about will be there, but we don't need to know all those things. Just
Okay.
for certification point of view, I just keep a few things.
Yeah.
Okay, can you close this one? Then can you go back one folder back?
Shall I go back?
Say it with me. Say it with me.
Okay.
There is a ADF PDF.
Oh,
Yeah, can you open the first file?
this one.
No, 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 not that one. ADF part one. ADF part one.
Yeah.
No, no, ADF part one. Close this.
Okay. Oh,
Okay,
okay.
can you come little down?
Yeah, done
That
it.
is a demo stuff only.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you can see all what we discussed.
Yeah, this is a slide deck for.
Yeah,
Okay. So we can record regularly here.
exactly.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
And
So no worries. And can you check that recording access also? You're able to access, right?
where daily we can join, you told, no?
Yeah, yeah. Can you
Can
go to
you
your
go?
Gmail? Gmail, there is a one more tab. Go to your Gmail.
This, uh,
The third tab, we already opened Gmail here. Not that one. Left to that. Left side of that.
Here,
No, your Gmail. Your Gmail.
this one.
Yeah. So basically, you're able to access the recording sessions, right? Did you try where you can
Yeah,
see that
yeah.
recording? Can you go back to your inbox? Can you search for Rudrasaft? Yeah, login details. No, in the down. Yeah, little up, little up, little up. Yes, that one.
Okay. This is this one.
Okay, so you can use that link, and you can provide your email ID and your password.
Password.
Did you reset your password?
Yeah, 2 times I did.
Okay.
You forgot which one is.
Check that checkbox. Now login. Last your password. You need to remember your password. Login page.
Yeah, this one.
Now, can you go there? And I think you will get one link to reset your password. So, yeah, use this link. Okay.
This
Just
need to,
just log in.
yeah, I will reset later. In like this one side now, but I was not able to. Even I maybe I will try.
No, use that link only.
Which one?
We are already opened with password, right? Other tab.
Can I close this one?
Close this one. Just directly save and run it. Okay, enroll courses on the top right side. Now you can open that.
This one.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay, in the right side you can see the list of recordings. You can open the first one. Okay.
yeah, thanks for that.
No worries. So if anyone facing any issue, let me know. I will be available today. You can connect with me. If you're
Hi
still
everyone, good morning.
still if you're facing, you can let me know. Okay.
And where can we directly join from here only?
The meeting, that link is there, right? You're already having. You can join directly from there. Here you cannot find any link.
Wait, this one.
Yeah. No, not this one. You already having Zoom link, right?
Direct you have
Yeah,
shared.
you can just join with that link only.
Okay, no need, not from here.
Yeah, not from here.
Okay. This is for our material purpose. Right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So classroom is for material purpose and recordings will be there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, no worries.
Can I stop sharing?
Yeah, I'm sharing my screen now.
Thanks.
Okay, so in the last session, we have seen how we can access our storage accounts, how we can access our storage accounts with a data storage explorer and different things that we discussed about it. I think we also seen that access tiers. So what are the different types of access tiers and how the cost is going to be decided, that we discussed briefly, but those things is completely related to administrators. Okay, so yesterday few people asked if that particular file was removed, or if that particular system is not working, then how the data is going to be available. So because Microsoft is following the redundancy. So not only Microsoft, every cloud system has to provide the redundancy. So redundancy means it's a process of replicating the data. So how many times the data is going to be replicated? How many times the data is going to be replicated? Minimum 3 times the data is going to be replicated. Minimum 3 times. And maximum 6 times it is going to be replicated. If your data is more important, you can go up to 6 times. In my project, we are using GRS. So that means we are using 6 times we are keeping the data. So it's all depends on the business requirement, they're going to keep it. So how exactly it is going to be there is, when you create a storage account, basically when you create a storage account, that means ADLS or a database. If you create a storage account or if you create a database, by default, you're going to have a primary reason. For every data storage, you will be having a primary reason. So reason means it is a location. From which location you're taking the storage. Okay, so whatever the storage it is, or whatever the service it is, you're going to take the services from the region. But when it comes to the storage point of view, you are going to have a primary region and secondary region. So 2 reasons will be there when it comes to the storage. When it comes to the storage, we are going to have a 2 reasons. One is primary reason and second is secondary reason. So primary reason, you are going to have a control on it. You can choose what reason you wanted to take, that you can choose with the help of primary reason. I mean to say, while creating the service, administrators is having capability to choose the primary reason. But the secondary reason will be decided by Microsoft. We are not going to decide anything here. So Microsoft will take care about it. Okay, so how many types of redundancies are there here is 2 reasons are there, primary reason and secondary reason. In order to replicate the data, 3 times in the primary reason and 3 times in the secondary reason, we are having 4 different types of redundancies. One is locally redundant storage, zone redundant storage, geo redundant storage, and geo zone redundant storage. So 4 different types of redundancies are there. Okay, so I'm just going to show you. While creating this, you're going to have this. Let me open to the portal. So I hope everyone is having a story, I mean to say subscription and all. If at all, if anyone is not able to create it, please ping me after 10 a.m. I will be available today. So everything need to set up on today, so that you can start doing the practice. Now I'm just trying to create a storage account. If I wanted to create a storage account, you can use storage accounts is the service. You can search from here. You can find it. I'm just going to create one storage account. I'll show you where exactly you can have. I'm just taking my resource group. Let's take a storage account name, any name that you can take it. Reason, you can see it. So this indicates you have a possibility or you have feasibility to choose the region. Whatever the region you are selecting, so that will be treated as a primary region. This is a primary region. So primary region is central India. You are not able to see what is the secondary region here. Secondary region comes into picture only if you take a GRS, geo redundant storage, and GZRS, geo zone redundant storage. But even I have selected the redundancy as geo redundant storage, I'm not able to see here secondary region because secondary region will be selected by Microsoft itself. We are not going to have a control on it. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how exactly this LRS will be there. You can see it. LRS low cost option with basic protection against your server rack. So for basic kind of things, but for basic kind of storage that people used to take care about LRS. So what happens is, when you see this diagram, you can easily understand locally redundant storage replicates your storage account 3 times within a single data center in the primary region. When I take a LRS 100%, there is a only primary region. You're not going to have a secondary region. There will be no secondary region, only primary region. And in primary region, there is only one data center. So data center is nothing but the collection of racks. Collection of racks, we can say it is a data centers. So here in this particular data center, the primary region is going to have a multiple data centers. Region is going to have a multiple data centers. Within one data center, you're going to have a 3 times. 3 times your data is going to be replicated. Let's say here copy 1, copy 2, and copy 3. They're not going to be there in the same rack. With the different racks, it is going to be there. Okay, so it is going to provide a solution if the rack is failed. Okay, so LRS is the low cost redundancy option. So people used to go for low cost if they have, and that is one option. And other option is if they're not allowing to store the data out of the region, then they're going to always take the LRS. So locally redundant storage. LRS protects your data against server rack and drive failures. So if server rack is failed, you can get the data, or if drive is failed, then you can get the data. If the entire data center is failed, you cannot get the data. Your data is going to be lost. Okay, so if your application is restricted to replicating the data only within the region due to governance requirements and considered to choose LRS. That means if you have a government data, if you have a data which is not allowing, I mean to say the client is not allowing to store the data out of the region, then they will choose LRS. Okay, so very sensitive data, they're going to keep it. So that is what I'm just saying here. 3 copies we can keep within the single data center. So here also I'm just keeping. Basically, we are going to have a availability zones. With this is one data center. Just imagine this is another data center and this is another data center. Now I can see here 3 copies. When you upload any file, internally it maintains it. You're not going to have any control from your side. So that is about locally redundant storage. The cost will be less. Yeah.
Sorry, Bhaskar, one
Yeah,
question.
please go ahead.
What is mean by this rack one, Bhaskar?
Rack means something like this.
Is it like any storage area?
Of course.
Oh,
This is the racks.
okay. Yeah, got it. Was Acha,
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Bhaskar. I have one doubt.
Yeah,
So
please.
here, for LRS, it will be a single data center or multiple data
Single
center?
data center. Single
Okay.
data center.
Single data center means within the same area, right? Because
Yes.
like one area. Okay.
One area you can think like that.
Okay.
Like example, Hyderabad Central you have chosen. So in that Hyderabad Central, only one data center will be there. Example.
Yeah, exactly. Now, when you go through the next redundant, then you can get little more clarity.
Okay, and where these 3 copies will be present?
That we don't have any control to see.
Okay. Maybe it may be in the other data center, but we don't know, right? Like,
Yes.
okay.
Which data center it is storing, we are not having any control, that we cannot even see.
And cost also, like it will be applicable.
Cost will be
to
less. When you go for
only one
locally,
copy or 3 copies?
3 copies. 3 copies.
Storage.
3 copies in different racks.
Yeah. So they will charge us
Of
for
course.
3 copies, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Bhaskar. If they use that the 3 copies, then uh, where that they utilize the 3 copies?
Let's say, for example, if one of the rack is failed for some reason, there is a chances, right? If one of the rack is failed, you can take the data from other rack. Let's say copy 1 is there in this rack. Just imagine. Copy 2 is there here.
Okay.
If this is failed for some reason, there is a chances rack level failures. Then your when you read the data by using Azure Data Factory, it can read the data from here because one more copy is available here. You're getting my point, right?
Yes,
Your
yes.
voice is breaking.
Yes, Bhaskar.
Okay.
Bhaskar, is it like automatic process? Like
Automatic.
okay. So
Automatic
no
only.
need to connect any separate rack.
No.
If one rack is failing, then automatically it will.
Automatically it will take care.
Yeah.
We don't care about it.
Okay.
The next redundant is zone redundant storage. Zone redundant storage. This is also going to have only primary region. And within the primary region, we are going to have a 3 data centers. So 3 data centers we are going to have. Okay, so in one data center is going to have a copy 1. In another data center, you're going to have a copy 2. And the third data center, you're having a copy 3. Okay, so if entire data center was failed, if it is the LRS, there is a chances to lose the data. If data center is failed, then you cannot access the data. But when it comes to here, zone redundant storage, within the same region, you will be having multiple data centers. So hundreds of data centers are going to be there within the same region. If one data center is failed, still you have a chances to access the data from the data center 2. If data center 2 also is failed, still you can access the data from the data center 3. Now here, when we are going to lose the data here is, if the entire primary region is failed, then there is a chances to lose the data. So in previous case, if data center was failed, then chances were there more to lose the data. When it comes to the zone redundant storage, if entire data center is, if entire region is failed, so there is a chances. If entire region is failed, then there is a chances to lose the data. To avoid this, if you wanted to make it highly available, your data, then you need to use GRS. You need to use the GRS. Okay, so GRS is going to have a geo-redundant storage. Geo-redundant storage you're going to have. When you see this, then you can understand it. Whenever you are going to say the geo, keep in mind there is a 2 reasons are there. One is primary reason and second is secondary reason. So 2 reasons you are going to have it. Primary reason, secondary reason. Primary reason and second reason. Within the primary reason, there is a LRS. Within the secondary reason, there is a LRS. In both the side, LRS only is going to be there when you go for geo-redundant storage. Okay, so if entire data center is down, you can have a data in the secondary region. So between these 2 things, the differences, I mean to say the distance, we can have thousands of kilometers away. Okay, so there is a less chances to affect both regions at one shot. Okay, so because of that reason, we are going to have a highly available, the data is going to be highly available. Okay, so JRS copies your data synchronously 3 times within a single physical location in the primary region using LRS. And it then copies your data asynchronously to a single physical location in the secondary region. So that is hundreds of miles away from the primary region. So here also you are going to have a 3 copies. So here it is going to write the data synchronously, and asynchronously the data is going to be loaded into this secondary region. And within the second region, the data is copied 3 times. Within the second region, the data is going to be there in a 3 times. So here also 3 times, total 6 times. So this kind of feasibility is not available when you go for Hadoop. When you go for Hadoop, you cannot maintain data centers in a different regions. Okay, so that will be very huge cost. Okay, so they may have only one data center. Okay, so it's difficult to maintain in 2 different countries. Whatever the setup I'm having in India, the same setup I cannot keep in out of my India or thousands of kilometers away, I cannot keep it. So if you keep it, then 3 times you can keep in one region and 3 times in other regions, you can have it 6 times. But here it is very, very simple and easy. The cost is also very less when you compare with Hadoop cluster. Okay, so this will be taken care by automatically. We are not going to worry about how they're handling it. And you fail, you're keeping the data in one place, but internally it takes care about all this stuff. So that is how you're going to have a geo-redundant storage.
Yeah, Bhaskar. So I have one doubt here. So geo redundant storage in the sense it will be a same country or it can be different country as well.
Different country also there is a chances. In our case, we have a within our country we have 2 regions. One is Central India, South India, and one more is also there if I'm correct. Okay, so there is a chances to have a different country also.
Okay. Yeah, it can be same or different.
Yeah, it can be same or different.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
in India we have a more demand. So because of that reason, they have 3 reasons if I'm correct. But I'm sure Central India and South India is there.
Bhaskar, one question.
Mhm.
Can you go to the previous slide, Bhaskar? So, in case if the primary region gets filled, so automatically we'll get the data from the second region, right, Bhaskar?
Yes.
Okay.
And the next is geo-zone redundant storage. Okay, so there is a chances to failure, right? If both regions are failed, I mean to say in primary region you are having only LRS. Secondary region also we are having LRS. But here geo-zone redundant means you have a zone redundant storage and geo redundant storage. So both combined together here. So ZRS is available, LRS is available. Here 3 different data centers. So same to same, ZRS plus LRS is known as your GZRS. So here 3 copies are going to be there here, and here we are going to have a 3 copies in each data center. So it is going to make it much more highly available here. So there is a very, very less chances to lose the data. Okay, so these are all going to be decided what kind of redundancy we require to take it. That will be taken care by solution architects. The solution architects decides what kind of redundancy we require. So based on that, administrators are going to create a storage accounts or database. Even the same thing can be applied for database also. While creating a database, you can see the redundancy. Okay.
Uh, yeah, Bhaskar. So yeah. So, regarding this admin thing, so admin means it's Azure admin or
Azure admin.
okay, so there will be a
Because
separate role.
because we have a Azure administrators. and Azure DevOps engineers, Azure data engineers. And solution architects. So they're just going to give an approach. Okay, and data architects also will be there. They will pivot, they will work in terms of infrastructure side, infra side, and these people will work for data side. So data side means they will give approach. They're not going to participate. They're not going to participate in the development. So if we need a medallion architecture, how we can implement it. So they will give a plan to us. The plan we are going to take to implement it. Okay, and apart from that, even there is a modular architects also will be there. So modular architects means especially in the modeling, like we'll be having a star schema or snowflake schema. So something like this, the modular architects will be there. They will design this. So based on this data architect is going to give a plan to us, and that plan we are going to implement by Azure data engineers. So setup is required, right? Infrastructure is required. To have an infrastructure, administrators will create, but they cannot create by their own. They're going to depend on the solution architect. So what kind of infra they require, they're going to set it up. So these people are going to work together. They will share the requirements and all. Based on that, these people are going to create a services for us, and we are going to use them. We don't create a Azure storage account. We don't create any service. We are going to consume directly. But here we need to practice by ourselves. If you need a Azure data factory, then you need to have a storage for this data factory. So in real time, someone will take care about it. But here we have to take care from our side. You got my point, right?
Yeah, Bhaskar. Thank you.
Yeah. So whatever we have seen till now, that is related to Azure Data Lake Storage Gen2 account. That means it is related to purely file system. Now, what if we need a database? So usage of the database is very less chances as a data engineer. As per the market, I'm saying very less chances, because we are going to use the file system. We are going to use the ADLS. On top of ADLS, we can have a data warehouse also. So how we can create it, we'll see at the time of Azure Databricks. But now in Microsoft also, we have a Azure SQL Server to store the data. So as I said, this ADLS is going to support to store semi-structured data, unstructured data, and structured data. All the varieties of the data that you can store, because it is a lake. So lake can take anything. You can dump anything into the lake. But when it comes to structured data, if you wanted to store only structured data, then you need to go for Azure SQL Server. You can also store the structured data here. But if I wanted to update any data in the file, that is not possible. If you have a millions of records, you cannot go and identify which record it is, and you cannot update it. So for some reasons, we are not going to store structured data here, and we are going to have a structured data in the Azure SQL Server. Just keep in mind this point. Later, I'm going to modify. We're also going to do update in the file system. How it is going to be there, we'll see that. For time being, just imagine we cannot do any updates in the file system. You cannot do any insert in the file system. You cannot do any DML operations. So DML means data manipulation language, or data manipulation. Like if we cannot insert it, or we cannot modify, or we cannot delete it. So these operations we can say modifications or manipulation. So manipulations, these three operations, we can call it as a manipulation. So these operations generally is not possible to do it in a ADLS Gen 2. Okay, so I'm saying not possible at this point of time. But when it comes to the Azure SQL Server, you can modify, you can insert, and you can delete it. But the problem here is you can store only structured data. But here you can store all the varieties of the data. And we cannot store massive volume of data here, whereas in the lake you can store very huge volume of data. So TBs of the data you can store here. But this is a very huge cost when you compare with the ADLS Gen2. In what cases we are going to use this Azure SQL Server or even SQL Server, or simply I wanted to say Oracle, any database, why we are going to use is because to run the business, we required OLTP system. OLTP means online transactional processing system. Online transactional processing system. So I gave somewhere around in the first session itself, if I'm correct, I gave the differences between OLTP system and OLAP system.
Yes.
This OLTP system is designed for business to run your business. You cannot use the lake to run your business. That's not possible. This is designed for analyzing, but this is for running your business. If you don't run the business, there is no point of analyzing. So running of the business is very important. To run the business, we required OLTP system. OLTP system can be built with the Oracle, can be built with the SQL Server, or can be built with the Azure SQL Server. For that kind of situation, we are going to use Azure SQL Server. That means business is going to use Azure SQL Server to store their business data. So that is one process. Another process from our side, when it comes to our side, in what situations we are going to use this Azure SQL Server is, in my case, in one of my projects, we used for metadata. For metadata only, we use this Azure SQL Server. So there is a table called control table. What is this control table? I'll talk about it. We are going to spend a lot of time with the control table. This is very important. If you wanted to create a data-driven pipelines, then you required control table. Without control table, that is not going to be possible. Okay, so we are going to see that. So that kind of data, so control table is going to have a metadata of your process. What are the tables are there? What sources it is? What are the targets you're having? What are the key columns you're having? What are the filter columns you're having? Is that active? What kind of load you're having? All those details, we can call it as a metadata. So when it comes to our side, mostly we are going to use this Azure SQL Server to have a metadata, only for metadata. The price will be less only. Okay, because you're not storing your business data. You can store this Azure SQL Server for business data. Okay, so, and you can also use the same SQL Server for metadata. Instead of having on-prem SQL Server, you can have Azure SQL Server with less price. We have a different types of pricing tiers to reduce the cost so that we can use it. So mostly from our side, we are going to use it for metadata. In one of my project, even I have used, that is not the good practice. Basically, the project follows as per their requirement. So they have a different data sources, but their target is Azure SQL Server, and they're using Azure SQL Server as a data warehouse. We can also use the same system for data warehouse also, and you can use the same system for OLTP system also. Only the design of the modeling is different. So here the people will follow ER modeling, and here they follows dimensional modeling. So dimensional modeling will be there. So the modeling decides is that a OLAP system or OLTP system. But same system can be used for OLAP as well as same platform can be used for DWH, and same platform can be used for OLTP also. So there is a chances to use for both. Okay, so if it is very old project in the data engineering, definitely there is a chances to have Azure SQL Server as a data warehouse. there is a chances. If it is a new project, I'm sure ADLS itself is going to serve everything. We are going to use medallion architecture. I'll talk about it. What is medallion architecture when time comes? Okay, so let's concentrate for now only Azure SQL Server.
Bhaskar, one question. Sir.
Yeah.
So like what is this metadata, Bhaskar, as we are talking about?
A data about your data. Generally, if I mean to say, when we come across this, then you can understand it. Okay, so instead of explaining, when we come across practically, then you can feel what do you mean by this metadata.
Yeah, sure, Bhaskar.
Metadata will be there in the control table. Just remember.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Bhaskar, another one, so earlier means when we are working in SSIS, we normally, as you mentioned, we are going to store the data in the database like SQL Server. Now we need to move to the ADLS. This is due to reduce the cost only or any other feature?
That is cost and parallel processing.
Yeah,
SSIS will not support parallel processing.
Yes, monolithic. Okay.
Okay.
And control. Okay.
Yes.
Executor. Okay.
And varieties of the data cannot be handled with SSIS.
The 3 V's you told. Okay.
Yes.
So.
Okay. Now, when it comes to here, Azure SQL storage platform. So Azure SQL Server is going to provide in two different flavors. One is PaaS platform and other is IaaS platform. So for both platforms, you can have it, IaaS and PaaS. Okay, so PaaS means, IaaS means if they wanted to lift and shift their database, their SQL Server database as it is into the cloud, then we can take it into the IaaS platform. IaaS means infrastructure as a service. When we are going to use this is to lift and shift on-prem SQL databases, to lift and shift on-prem SQL servers to Azure infrastructure or Azure IaaS as it is without doing any changes. Then we can choose SQL Server with IaaS platform. We are going to have a full control on the operating system. You can have a control on the operating system. It is almost like your on-prem. The only thing is infrastructure is not your infrastructure, but it is very similar to on-prem system. Okay, so this kind of approach very less chances to have, but even if you have, even if the business using, you're not going to load the data into this kind of systems. Basically, you're going to read the data from there. Mostly you're going to read the data from there. And even if you wanted to load it, we can load it. We just need a server name to connect to this particular place. We don't care how they set up it. We care about how we can load the data into that or how we can read the data into that. So that we can do it when you have a server name and database. So we'll see that how exactly it is going to be there. I'll take on-prem SQL Server, but I'm not going to take SQL Server with IaaS platform. But as part of this session, we are going to see PaaS platform. Platform as a server. Platform as a service, we are going to use it. So in platform as a service, we have a SQL databases and we have a managed instance. Okay, so managed instance and SQL databases are there. Let me open that so that you can understand how exactly it is available. Let's go to the portal, then you can see the differences. So you have to search for Azure SQL. Search for Azure SQL in the global search. You can see there is a Azure SQL. When I hit on plus create, you can see. So this is a PaaS service. And this is also a PaaS service. And this is IaaS service. Okay, so in PaaS service, we have both SQL databases and SQL managed instances. Okay, so here it is for modern cloud applications, hyperscale and serverless options are available here. We are going to see, and even Elastic also you're going to have here. Elastic feature also you're going to have. What is that elastic? I'll give an idea. Okay, so, but we are not going to come across to this particular area to create it. But you need to have some idea what kind of deployment options are there when you buy a SQL server from Microsoft Azure. So these are all the deployment options. One is SQL databases, SQL managed instances, and SQL virtual machines. Especially the person who is going to work as an architect, solution architect, or data architect, they need to be aware of what flavors are available. So then only they can come up with the required resources with required size and required compute. So based on that only administrators will create it. Administrators least bother about what configuration they required. Whatever you provided, based on that they will set up the environment. Okay, so this is helpful for them, but not for data engineers. But definitely, even in the future, they're going to be helpful for us. So once we gain good experience, then you may be turned into architect also. So that point of time, all these things are going to be really helpful. Okay, so when we can go for this is if you wanted to have a less control, if you need a modern applications, then you can go for this, and you're not going to have a control on the OS, no control on the operating system. No control on the operating system. There are many features that you can see when I show you with on-prem SQL Server, then you can find the differences between your SQL databases with PaaS and on-prem SQL Server. There many are not available. You cannot create a link services. If you're already aware of on-prem SQL Server, it allows to create a link servers. So link servers are possible, and you can take the data from the different servers. You can read from the different servers. So whereas here it is not going to be possible. And SQL Server agent is there here, agent, but agent is not available here. So some differences are there. We don't need those. If you don't need agent, then why you need to go for other flavors? If you need an agent, if you wanted to create a link servers, the link servers also is not possible even here. The link servers is possible to create in a IaaS platform. Okay, so when it comes to here, in this case, like, if you have an on-prem SQL server, if you wanted to migrate into cloud, then you need to use conversion tools. You need to use conversion tools if it is this database. Okay, and if you wanted to bring the same thing into this place, if you wanted to bring the database from this database as it is, this database into this place, then you can use lift and shift. You don't need to use migration tools. You don't need to use migration tools. You can directly lift and shift into this particular place. So that is what it is saying. Best for most migration to the clouds, and lift and shift ready. So that is possible. Another thing is you are going to have a more or less kind of features are available, same like your on-prem SQL Server. The only thing is no operating system control. No operating system control, and SQL Server upgradations automatically will be taken care by Microsoft itself. But when it comes to here, if you want to bring the same database into the IaaS platform, you can lift and shift here also. You can lift and shift. At the same time, you can also have a control on the operating system. You can have a control on operating system. So that feasibility also is available here. But when it comes to this two, here is no operating system control, and here also no operating system control. Whereas here you're having a full control. Upgradation of your SQL Server is your responsibility. Microsoft will never upgrade automatically. All the softwares, whatever the softwares available, you're keeping inside your virtual machine in IaaS, that will be taken care by yourself only. Only these two flavors only in the PaaS platform only, Microsoft is responsible to upgrade your skill set. So that is how it is going to be there. Clear? Any question?
One question. So the lift shift is going to taken care by the data engineer or like admin part?
Database administrators.
Okay. It's not like a data
No,
engineer job, right?
no,
Oh,
not it
oh,
related to here.
okay.
If it is a ADF, then that is our job. If it is a ADB, then our job.
Bhaskar, like one more question. When while they are shifting the from the to like sorry IAS platform, if anything is happened, so in that case, is like any backup is happening or like how they are going to provide the solution?
The database backups will be taken care by themselves because it is a
Okay,
IaaS.
okay, okay.
Okay, all the
Yes,
things they have to take care.
okay, okay.
Yeah,
So
Bhaskar, can you repeat again? Lift and shift the ready. What do you mean by lift and shift?
Lift and shift means you have a database
Mhm,
in your on-prem. On-prem means
mhm.
your data center, your own data center. Just imagine. Okay, so if you this is a SQL server. The SQL server, if you wanted to lift and shift, I don't want to change anything. Lift and shift means you're taking a backup file, you're restoring it here.
Okay,
You're not doing anything. You're not upgrading anything. You're not touching anything. As it is, you're just taking a backup of this and restoring here. That is a lift and shift.
okay,
And migration means you're migrating. You cannot lift and shift. You have to use the migration tools, and using those tools, you're going to migrate it. So that is also possible. Only for these databases only they're having a feasibility to migrate it. And this also supports for lift and shift.
migrated means it had facing that whole dump, right?
Yes, whole dump. It will be like, let's say, for example, you're having a SQL server in your system, it is having 2019 version. But here it is always going to be highest version, that is 2022.
Mhm.
Okay, I don't want to migrate, I don't want to upgrade, I wanted to keep it as it is, then you can lift and shift into the IaaS. In IaaS only it is possible with the same version.
Mhm.
But when it comes to here, it is not possible. You have to migrate it. You have to migrate to 2022. So to migrate to this version, you have to use migration tools. Okay, that means database administrators will take care about it. Okay, you got my point, right?
Yes, yes.
And one more thing is, if you have a Oracle database, that is not possible here. And you can take a backup of this Oracle, you can install Oracle in the virtual machine, and then you can restore it. That is possible. But you cannot bring the Oracle systems to these flavors. Only for SQL Server only I'm talking. Okay, you got my point, right?
Yes, Bhaskar. Yes.
One question about that. So few projects they use different SQLs, so like PLSQL. Some places they use, but for the ETL they use Azure Data Factory. So can we able to integrate within this? You have given the Oracle as an example. One of the projects here we're using the Snowflake as an uh, um, as a database.
Okay, I understand. Like,
Yeah.
whatever a data source it is, if it is a database, any database it is,
Mhm,
either it
mhm,
is a Oracle or SQL Server or Snowflake,
mhm,
Data Factory is going to read the data without writing a code, and
mhm.
with the coding also can do it.
Okay.
So when I
Can we
say with coding means it is a SQL,
okay.
you can write it.
Yeah, can we able to query within the on-prem like the Azure SQL query using
Using Data Factory saying,
yes, using
yeah,
Data
yeah,
Factory.
we are going to see how we can write a
Okay.
SQL code with the Data Factory and database, both we are going to see.
Okay. We can
Okay.
able to access the database, a deep
Mhm.
database and the tables from even though if it
Definitely.
is from the different tool. Okay.
Exactly. You can. That is the main, right? Otherwise, there is no point of taking this Azure data engineering. They cannot sell the products.
Okay.
So data factory has to take the data from the databases.
Okay.
Okay.
Sir, one question, like you told, like we are not required to use the SQL server for means processing here or storing. We can
For
use that.
reading, we are going to use mostly, and writing also. If it is a old project, there is a chances to have it.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
But in case of accessing the data via like Power BI or the machine ML processing data science project, means the data we build as a data warehouse, if they want to use. So even though in that cases Gen2 is useful, storing the data in the Gen2 is useful.
Yes.
Than storing.
Nowadays people are more concentrated with the Delta Lake.
Okay, with the Gen2.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So, but the features and the fastness which are available
Delta
in
Lake.
the data warehouse, so that will
Delta
be
Lake.
available in the Delta Lake or
Yes.
Gen2 with the Delta Lake. I mean.
Yes. On top of Gen2 only, we are going to have a Delta Lake.
So, like difficulties will be there, right? Or no difficulties?
No difficulties. No difficulties.
Oh.
We are going to see. When we see, then you can feel why people are talking about
Why
Delta
I'm
Lake.
asking this question, like when we are storing the data in Gen2, it will be in a file system, right? Like .csv, XLS, or the Parquet, as you mentioned. But while accessing into the Power BI, we should connect to the data source as a database only,
We
right?
have a Delta Lake.
For
That's
that.
what this data lake is going to be converted as a Delta Lake. We are going to create a
Okay.
Delta tables.
We'll see them. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, at the time of Databricks, we are going to see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, then I'm stopping here. We'll see how we can do set up this Azure SQL Server on next session. And once the next session is completed, your basics will be completed. And from Tuesday onwards, we're going to see Azure Data Factory. So from there, it is very, very important. Even if you don't practice these things, that's not going to harm you. But from once Data Factory is started, from there, you have to start doing the practice then and there. I mean to say, on the same day, you have to complete it. Okay, so tomorrow I'm not going to be available. I'm going to out of the station. So the next session I'm going to take on Monday.
Yeah, thanks, Bhaskar. And
Okay.
can we
Thanks,
connect
Bhaskar.
to means when we individually are having some access issues, right? So whenever you feel okay, we'll connect like together and you can show the things. I mean, whichever you are.
Today I will be available. Okay, so basically I will be available Monday and Friday, on Saturday.
Yeah.
These 3 days, but
Yeah.
next 3 days I'm not going to be available. I need to visit my office.
Correct. Yeah.
So
So
Monday and Friday I will be available. If
now
you stuck
today,
anywhere, you can directly reach out me in WhatsApp, and you can share your screen and we can sort it out.
yeah, whenever individually calling you,
Yeah,
can we
individually.
connect together so that we'll see once initial for the initial setup, which you are told like different tools, access and installation you told, no? So can we do it in one session? Like
Okay. Okay, you're expecting that one, right? Then we'll see. One session we'll see that.
no,
The
it
setup.
means because people are connecting with you or WhatsApping, the same things will connect one session, and we go through one by one. Means you can listen in that call only. If you're
Okay.
having any one issues, that will be resolved for all, right? Means
Okay. Okay.
you can think about that.
Yeah, definitely. We'll plan. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay
Then
then.
Bhaskar, and next class will be Monday, right?
Yes, next class will be on Monday.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
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 Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Thanks, Tim. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.